player here remaining for Europe if he wins and Hawkeye doesn't. And also a funny testament if Kolento's the invited player and everyone else who qualified end up falling.
So I have a funny story about Kolento from yesterday. A lot of players say you always have to be lucky to win a tournament in Hearthstone, and I just have a story about how Kolento was really lucky in real life. Yesterday, after the broadcast ended, we went back to the hotel, we got off the bus, and Kolento accidentally dropped his glasses and stepped on them. So I told the Chinese admins...
Hilarious moment, yeah.
I told the Chinese admins, hey, we need to find a glasses shop to fix his glasses, and where's the nearest one? So then he pointed behind me, and he was like, there it is. You broke your glasses outside of a glasses repair shop. So the question is, will this luck...
Kolento broke his glasses outside of a glasses repair shop.
Yeah.
That was the ending to the story. It was actually pretty funny, too, when I think about it. It was
ironic.
It was one of the things, because, like, Kolento just, like, he dropped his glasses, and he stepped on it. And, like, of course, maybe they're not expensive glasses, but of course it's really inconvenient because it's 11 p.m. in China. But Kolento doesn't react either. Like, whether he's getting the draw to win him 100K, or he breaks his glasses on the street and happens to be right across a glasses repair shop, the guy has no emotions.
Yeah. So Kolento, the first game is starting up. Kolento will almost surely bring a Strife Crow handlock deck that we saw Strife Crow get #1 legend with yesterday. It's become very popular, especially among the Europeans here.
Just 24 hours.
Yeah, just 24 hours ago.
I mean, even in the Chinese players, they were playing a lot with the deck too. In fact, I think I saw like 7 players have their iPads or laptops out, and all 7 of them were playing Warlock, and to a certain extent, they were playing this Demon handlock deck. A few people were playing Zoo. I think Screenage was playing Zoo.
Yeah, of course. Screenager is one of the only players who thinks Zoo is much better than Handlock, but yeah, everyone else was like, wow, Handlock's coming back, and especially Strife, you can get #1 with it, why can't we?
I ask myself that every day. Wild growth start for SleepyShaman. Seems like he's off to a roll. Yeah. And we're going to get straight into it, guys. This is EU versus China Season 2 semifinals. The winner of this gets 10K to his name. Of course, they're both guaranteed 5,000 already. So they're going to essentially double up from this point on.
Yeah, we see a fairly good hand from SleepyShaman with the Wild Growth, but in the previous match between Stansifka and Kolento, Stansifka actually had kind of a god hand. He had Wild Growth into Chillwind Yeti into a 5-drop. But Kolento, despite that awesome hand, Kolento was still able to come back or just essentially take the initiative and never let go.
Yeah, this is actually very bad for SleepyShaman, considering that he's just going to pass on turn 4, and so the Wild Growth does help him accelerate. And of course, if he didn't have Wild Growth, he'd be even bigger trouble. See if that was just Wrath. But now this Twilight Drake, the worst thing that can happen is if his opponent has Keeper of the Grove, and he would have to innervate in order to deal with it immediately.
All right, so we see from Kolento's hand that Kolento is not running the exact list of Strife Crow's handlock deck. There is 1 Siphon Soul added, and Strife Crow was not using a single Siphon Soul. So Kolento might be teching against things like Kel'Thuzad, perhaps?
Yeah, definitely reasonable. Lotheb being dropped immediately, as opposed to Sludge Belcher. I guess he just wants to get more damage onto the Drake.
Yeah.
It's too easy to bully a Sludge Belcher, only doing 3 damage overall.
Fortunately for Kolento, he has the perfect card. Defender of Argus lets the Twilight Drake trade pretty much the exact response that he needed.
SleepyShaman can answer with removal or a minion. I think Pilot Shredder makes the most reasonable sense considering it directly challenges the Drake, but it's just as simple as getting Dark Bombed and then exploiting whatever comes out of it.
This is the issue with these kind of new handlocks, is that they don't have Mountain Giants in their decks, so BGH actually isn't as impactful in the early game. One of the reasons Strife Crow cut Mountain Giants was that he felt that a lot of times once you play a Mountain Giant on turn 4, your opponent responds with BGH, and then you're going to be behind on board the entire game, and you're going to be spending your mana not developing creatures, but rather just trying to clear the board.
Yeah, it's an excellent point. And from there, because you don't have Mountain Giants, you have other mid-sized threats or different synergies with Void Caller. It ends up being the case where you don't actually have to worry too much about Big Game Hunter swinging things, because in the late stages of the game, if you're dropping Dr. Boom or whatnot, there still are those boom bots, so it's not as impactful as a tempo swing compared to, like you said, the early game pressure and just ready for combo.
That's pretty good, I guess. So
it's okay.
SleepyShaman had the decision whether to play Dr. Boom first or whether to attack with the Shredder first.
But like now he feels like he can't develop anything on the board.
Yeah.
'Cause if he puts something big, like Dr. Boom, then Kolento just lets it go. I guess on the flip side, it also gives the initiative to the Druid. So, you know, maybe there's some good and some bad to this.
Yeah. But if he actually had an attack first with the Pilot Shredder, he would be playing around perhaps Mana Wraith and Nerubian Weblord.
Right.
If either of those came out, I think SleepyShaman would be pretty sad overall. He would have to develop like a
really
Sludge
awkward
Belcher.
now. Do you drop anything? I mean, then what happens if your opponent kills it and then... Yeah, so he drops a Sludge Belcher because if his opponent kills a Doomsayer, then he gives up a lot of tempo by passing his turn.
I think he's putting Kolento on either an Owl or maybe even a Dark Bomb, a Siphon Soul. There's just too many things that can kill the Doomsayer.
Right.
I mean, Siphon Soul is an option, but I'm not sure if you want to spend 6 mana on this. How much does Kolento value the board control?
I feel like board control is almost everything in this deck, essentially. You're not really ramping as hard as you are to normal threats, so getting early board control is super valuable considering that Void Caller can get you that tempo back anyways. Jiraxis. Alright, so... Gonna pass over. And then this gives Druid the initiative to seize the board, and Dr. Boom can safely be dropped, but of course we know Kolento already has a big game hunter waiting on his end. Maybe something more.
Something more.
So, I mean, I feel like Kolento comes out way ahead in this.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm just judging too early. Like this game could definitely go either way.
I think this is one of the situations where Dr. Boom isn't as impactful. You have the BGH and you have already a Slime on the board, which contests the boom bots perfectly, pretty much. Also, you have a lot of taunts in your hand, so you're not too worried about the damage that the boom bots can do.
Man. All right. Well, Ancient of Lore is pretty decent.
Fortunately, still no Keeper of the Grove.
Right. What? Oh, he second guessed himself.
Sylvanas,
an excellent card. In fact, that's a pretty good pair of draws here, Monk. I wouldn't mind drawing Sylvanas in this scenario if I was him.
This is going to be huge. This Boombot, if it kills the
big game
hunter, it'll be great. If it doesn't, the big game hunter plus a Mortal Coil will just wreck this Ancient of Lore.
Feeble pleb trying to out RNG Kolento. Who does he think he is, Monk?
I mean, Kolento has been RNG'd before. In the first match, for example, against Green Memory. Boombot went to his face, did 4 damage when there were 6 minions on the field.
Yeah.
And his opponent had exact lethal afterwards.
Hey, how good is Dread Infernal here? If you just like trade into the...
Dread Infernal is not bad here.
You do damage to yourself, but I guess you can't really tap. I'd be scared to tap, actually. Because then it puts him on the possibility of having combo plus Innervate.
Wow. I think that might be the first Dread Infernal we've ever seen used, played from the hand ever in a Hearthstone tournament.
In a tournament with these kinds of stakes.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm sure there's people who play in their local fireside gatherings who are like, oh yeah, this is a demon. I'm gonna totally destroy you with like Demon Heart and Demon Fire. Because when you play a demon deck like that, it's actually really fun.
Yeah.
If the synergies work.
I mean, you can do like, if you get a Dread Infernal on the board, you can Demon Heart, Demon Fire it, and do like 13 burst damage. It's like just a Force of Nature combo. So, Keeper comes. 2 turns too late, unfortunately.
Well, it still helps in a way. Is he worried about dying, perhaps? There's 12 damage on the backswing here. Is it possible for him to die, Monk, based off of knowledge of this deck?
Let's see. Okay, so 12 damage. I don't think he can.
Generally speaking, I'm not saying like based off the cards in hand, but generally speaking.
Generally speaking, there's pretty much no burst in this deck besides like there's 1 Dark Bomb, there's 2 Hellfires, Jiraxis. You can't really combine them in a way that deals that much damage. I mean, maybe Dr. Boom and how he could die is Dr. Boom, 2 Mortal Coils, and both Boombots do 4 damage to the face.
Oh, gosh. Alright, well,
Still unlikely.
this is interesting.
One great
scenario.
thing about playing Sylvanas against this particular version of Handlock is that this version of Handlock only runs 1 owl, so you're much less likely to get silenced. So this Sylvanas is actually creating a lot of tension on the board.
Feels like Kolento just might reset the board anyways. Like, straight up just try to clear everything.
Yeah, I think that would be fair.
And then Hellfire, or maybe like evaluate what Sylvanas steals. If he steals the Dread Infernal, it might even give him the opportunity to Mortal Coil.
Yeah. So,
Ancient Watch is reasonable as well.
Yeah,
it's a possibility.
Definitely reasonable. Yeah, trade in the Twilight Drake, trade in the Dread Infernal, see what it steals. Anything that Sylvanas steals is actually not bad.
Okay. Yeah, not bad at all. Really like the sequencing as well. Very good play from Kolento. He's on point. Oh man, Black Knight value, 1 damage.
Although
He has to drop the big game hunter too.
Swipe plus BGH is not bad here.
Right.
The Boombots, the Ancient Watcher actually tanks the
Oh,
Boombot
nice.
hits.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much perfect for him. Best case scenario.
Alright, well here we go. Hellfire and Farseer cancel each other out almost perfectly. Oh, even better.
I think he can even afford to.
Well, he's got heal bot now.
Yeah, exactly.
What were you gonna say though?
Yeah, heal bot.
What were you gonna say, Mon?
No, that's
What
fine.
can he afford to do?
He can afford to heal
Tap?
bot.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say he can afford a tab, but
Yeah, this is just puts him out of lethal range. And actually, I don't actually think that our SleepyShaman player is actually in a terrible position.
Right.
He has the initiative on the board, and Kolento is kind of running out of cards.
well, you know, until Kolento is actually in big trouble though. Like he just needs to get his Void Caller.
Wow. So to get initiative back on the board, you can Siphon Soul and Earthen Ring Farseer. That's kind of weak.
It's assuming that does give you initiative, because this is the phase where Druid can easily drop 2 5 cost minions. Yep.
There as well.
Okay, so Shaman picks up Zombie Chat, one of the worst cards that he could have asked for at the moment. You don't want to let that handlock have the option of healing. You know, even if Kolento gets the Void Caller, he's gonna need some way to give incentive for Drew to kill it. So taunts of some kind.
Again, SleepyShaman sets up lethal once again. If he draws the Savage Roar, he does have lethal ends. Kolento, he's gonna have a hard time dealing with this bear. This deck that he's running only runs 1 Dark Bomb, and he needs that in order to combo with the Mortal Coil.
Ooh, so he gets Void Caller. He also has so if he has Void Caller, he can also drop Sylvanas, or he can drop Mal'Ganis and just try to go for his invulnerability. Makes the most sense given the state of things. And of course, Kolento's not happy at all about this scenario.
You can actually use your Wrath to cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's what he does.
And keep her to finish.
Exactly.
What would a Force of Nature to finish off the Mal'Ganis?
Yeah, that's,
I think
yeah,
one
I like
Force of Nature.
I like that better actually. You want to keep. You saw your opponent couldn't deal with the Druid of the Claw in the previous turn, and you have 2 Force of Natures anyway, filling up your hand. So might as well do 6 damage to Mal'Ganis via the Force of Nature treants. Plus, you can use the Keeper at a later stage to kill off a taunt or silence a taunt.
Yeah, more Void Caller in this scenario. The SleepyShaman goes for it. The pressure is just so high right now. Question is, how far does he press? This deck does run Molten Giants.
Yes, 2
So,
Molten Giants. So
he has to be cautious not to put himself in a scenario where Kolento can easily drop Molten Giants and then overwhelm the Druid player.
I like this play. Plays around Molten Giants, but like a 6-mana Molten Giant and a 7-mana Molten Giant aren't too different.
Well, it allows Kolento to play the Giant and heal up. 19 still doesn't matter though, because with that Druid Claw out, it's 20 damage that's being threatened.
Yeah, with 2 Force of Natures in your deck, you also have to assume that you're also running 2 Savage Roars. So it's very likely that SleepyShaman just has lethal next turn.
Well, he's 1 damage off lethal right now. Yeah, he's got it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, he needed the damage there with Innervate. So he's got that plus the Innervate of the Force of Nature. Kolento tapping actually cost him the game.
Yeah.
But of course, it's easy for us to speculate.
To be fair, I think he had to tap at that point.
His post-Jirax's hand would have been awful. God awful.
Man.
And you could make an argument that maybe Kolento could have won the game if he had knowledge of what's going on, but it's so difficult because Druid has that building pressure.
Yeah.
Not enough board control.
Yeah, Kolento just, all his threats were answered fairly easily. I think the biggest turn, the swing turn, was when the Sylvanas came on the board, and Kolento was forced to trade with the Dread Infernal into the Sylvanas and kind of underdevelop his board. Then he threw out the big game Hunter, and the swipe plus BGH combo.
What about the Doomsayer
dealt
turn?
with everything easily. Yeah, Doomsayer turn was actually a fairly interesting one as well.
Yeah.
Oh, hi guys.
I think that Doomsayer was a pretty big deal, giving Druid the ability to just drop something on the board as well.
Yeah, it also kind of stagnated Kolento's ability to develop his board.
So the 1 in 64 outer or whatever the numbers of 2 drops are, basically the 1.5% ends up helping SleepyShaman there. Takes game number 1, but we still have lots more room to play. We have a pretty diverse lineup. We got Paladin and Hunter remaining for SleepyShaman, and then of course Kolento still has his Druid, his Priest, and his Warlock.
Yeah, Kolento brings Priest yet again, and it's interesting to see that for every Chinese player that he's faced, Kolento has brought Priest, but against the European player and Stansifka, he's did not bring Priest. So maybe it's a testament to the fact that he expects the Chinese players to bring more aggressive decks, so he uses Priest to kind of control those that type of aggression.
Well, I mean, he's sort of right. The Hunter is there, so can Kolento bring it back and win with all 3 of his decks? I mean, it's pretty easy to do that in Conquest, I feel like, because of the variability between how matchups work. And as long as you're making sure that you have a target where you can line up correctly, then it's good. But the problem is your opponent can switch as well.
Yeah.
There's no guarantee. It's like, well, you know, he won the game, and he found out more about your deck, but that deck switches out.
Yeah, another possibility is that I think the most popular deck for the Chinese players is it's kind of a toss-up between Paladin and Hunter, and I feel like Priest can do fairly well against both those decks. So overall, I think I like the choice of Kolento's the choice of bringing Priest in Kolento's lineup, even though it's not a popular choice in the Western scene against other Western players.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So what do you think he's gonna pick then?
I think Priest here is very fair against the remainder of SleepyShaman's lineup. I think he just didn't want Priest against Druid, but Priest against Paladin, I think you're fairly okay with that. You can always thought steal cards like Aldor Peacekeeper in order to Cabal or Shadow Banish pretty much anything in the Paladin's deck. Mind Control fixes Tyrion very well, and yeah, just overall, Priest just is the stronger deck in the control matchup.
Okay. I think you're absolutely right. And if you're SleepyShaman, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter then if you're picking Paladin or Hunter. I guess whatever you feel like has a better remaining matchup of the 2, assuming it wins. So I guess Paladin could go first here, and then Hunter does decent against Warlock and Druid. So
yeah, I think the one matchup Kolento just really wants to dodge is the Warlock versus Paladin, because I think the Paladin just generally, in that matchup, Paladin controls very well with BGHs, Aldors, lay on hands for the card draw.
Okay.
Tyrion is also kind of an issue, and that might be why Kolento actually teched in that Siphon Soul just to deal with Tyrion, because he is a very big threat against the Warlock deck.
Okay, fair enough. How are you enjoying China, by the way, man? It looks like we have a little bit of time before our next match.
Yeah, just enjoying it a lot. We actually got to go to the city's best restaurant. Unfortunately, you came a bit late and you weren't able to go, but maybe we'll go tonight.
This is what happened. So I came off a 30-hour trip directly from Katowice in Poland. I was tired beyond belief and pretty hungry. and it was raining too in
I know
China.
the story. Oh man.
And so I got to my hotel at like 3 p.m. and they said like, okay, we'll get you for dinner later. I was like, okay, cool. So I bring out my laptop and I'm doing some work. And like 3-4 hours pass by and it's like, okay, it's time for dinner. Nothing happens. And I was like, well, this is kind of weird. So I texted some people. No one really responded. I Skyped some other people. They didn't respond either. And then another couple hours passed by. It's like 9 p.m. I said, dude, where's dinner? What happened? And Monk texts me. He's like, hey, did you land? I'm like, yeah. And he said, oh, well, you know, we're coming back now. And I said, oh, did you eat dinner yet? He said, yeah, we went to the best city in the entire restaurant. And I haven't eaten.
Best restaurant in the entire
I've had
city.
airline food like 12 hours ago. And I'm like wet and I'm pretty upset and like hungry. And Monk's like, well, you know, we went to the best city in the best restaurant in the entire city. How about I pick you up some McDonald's on the way home? And I said, you know what, Monk, screw you. And I just like threw my phone and I ordered room service. And Monk's like, no way, they'll buy you food. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And I was just like so mad and upset. And I was losing on ladder too. And it's like everything was going wrong, dude.
Sorry for the no good bad day. Yeah. Well, at least I offered some McDonald's. I mean, McDonald's is a bit different here. It's kind of like the local cuisine, right? Local McDonald's. You have the various spices that they put into the Chinese version of McDonald's. Actually, like McDonald's is different in every city, or in every country. Like in India, they have a lot of more vegetarian things. In China, McDonald's is actually the competitor of KFC. So they have like burgers in KFC and like fried chicken in McDonald's. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah. All the players have had McDonald's like every day because they don't want Chinese food. And us as Americans, we completely embrace that fact. You want to eat fast food every day? More to you, Europeans. So we willingly let them indulge themselves and shorten their lifespans.
Well, looks like the second game finally has begun. And I think Kolento's very happy with this matchup versus Paladin.
Yeah, this is definitely like a good spot if he can grab this match and shut down the Paladin, so that way it doesn't match up against the Warlock, like you said.
Yeah, just so many good things in the Priest deck that can counter the threats from the Paladin deck. Cabal for the shielded mini bots, Akanai Circle combo for the Quartermaster for battle combo, Thought Steal, pretty much all of the cards in the Paladin deck you want to Thought Steal. If you Thought Steal like Equality, it combos with your Evolved Pyromancer. If you Thought Steal Aldor, it combos with your Cabal Shadow Priest or Shadow Madness. Sludge Belcher deals very well with Piloted Shredder. Just everything doing really good and Mind Control, of course, for the Tyrion.
Taking some time here, but I don't really mind too much. Other than the Lothab, I think the early game curve is pretty nuts. All right, Lothab could be his press to leverage the board. Kolento seems to be playing the traditional priest, though. Not the Neo priest that's running Giblin Stalkers with Valen's Chosen. Instead, it seems to be ones with Circle of Healing and Akanai Soul Priest.
Yeah, I talked to Kolento about the new kind of priest deck with the Valen's Chosen and Giblin Stalkers, and he was like, oh, just the other deck is just so much better. Why would you play this deck?
Right. Chili Minibot. So efficient, so strong early game.
It's interesting that Kolento is running 2 Shrinkmeisters, so a very combo-oriented deck. In fact, every card in Kolento's hand has some combo ability with another card in his deck.
Another Power Word Shield. I guess that puts his Injured Blade Master out of range if he can combo that with Heal pretty effectively out of things like True Silver.
Unfortunately, True Silver plus Minibot will be able to answer
that. Also allows him to answer it.
So just a really good start from the Paladin.
And how does he do it with the Pilot Shredder?
He takes a lot of damage, waits till turn 8, and Shrinkmeister Cabals it.
Right. I mean, Kolento's gonna do what he can to try and force his opponent's hand to at least trade a little bit into it, but the Pilot Shredders are gonna be followed.
I did not expect that one. I guess it makes sense if you're running 2 Shrinkmeisters, a Shadow Madness.
Right.
I guess it's an extremely combo-oriented deck. So, I would say that in this game, SleepyShaman has drawn very well. True Silver Champion is the best card in the entire deck against Priest, probably. Yeah. Injured Blade Master number 2 is not going to be as effective either because of
the way it gets stopped, either by another minion that's slightly bigger or even muster for battle here. But Priest has time. Priest has a lot of time. It's rare that Paladin can press early without the help of Quartermaster.
Yeah. And yeah, even though all of Kolento's minions have been answered by SleepyShaman, I think he's in an alright position just because he's drawn a lot of cards, 2 cards from the Powered Shield, and he's cycled through his deck. And also, I would say this is a pretty good Holy Nova turn.
Yeah, almost as good as it gets. You reset the board and your opponent takes the initiative. But, you know, at least you don't have to worry about Quartermaster.
Against most decks, or as most decks, you don't want to give your opponent the initiative. But I think you're all right with Priest because you have like most of your deck is pretty much answers.
Right.
And they're very efficient answers like Shadow Madness and Cabal.
Yeah.
Also, Kolento has stalled out the game enough that he will be able to use his combo safely with the Shrinkmeister, for example.
That's a good point. Between the choice of the Sludge Belcher and the Pilot Shredder, you'd want to go with the Sludge Belcher, right? Like how strong it is against things like True Silver and the 1/1s.
You mean
like Quartermaster and stuff?
As the Priest player or the?
As the Priest player.
Oh,
because I was assuming he might just drop Sludge Belcher, but
I'm not sure I like this as much because it's weak to Cabal.
well, not this turn, but next turn. Oh, he's gonna take it through the Recombobulator play.
Yeah,
okay.
Recombobulator. Oh, this
Also
is gonna be
cute.
great. Cute and very effective. What's he gonna get? Harrison, Lothar?
Anything 5/5 would be good.
Well, King of Beasts.
All right. Little pretty troll-tastic.
Not the best, but
Not really.
What can you do?
Yeah. I was expecting pretty standard stuff. Anything that has 5/5 or 4/6 or along those lines, but 2/6, that's atrocious.
2/6, especially because you don't have a Shadow Word Death and you're facing Dr. Boom.
He does have the Northside Cleric to heal, so he can start drawing cards, and that gives him the ability to maybe pick up Shadow Word Death.
I think against a lot of normal decks, you would want to Cabal this Boombot, but because you have the Shrinkmeister, I think you're looking for much more value, such as getting the Piloted Shredder.
Wow, Kolento was really hoping the Boombot would not hit the taunt, right?
Yeah. He really wanted to heal that up, but he's gonna have to deal with it.
Oh, did you get it?
Shadow
it was
Word
like
Death
an
off the
instant
top.
call. Dang. This is the power of Kolento. The top of his deck is at his call.
I kind of like Sylvanas a little better here.
I mean, it's like
there's so many
Lothar
options.
accomplished the same thing as Sylvanas.
That's true.
Because it's a 5/5 body-wise.
Oh, Harrison Jones.
Harrison Jones. Yeah. Disarm your opponent. Draw 2 cards, but if
Not bad.
don't
I'd
mind
say.
if I do.
I'm actually kind of questioning the
Are you
decision
gonna
not
take
to
it with
attack
Cabal?
with the Light's Justice last turn. It is slightly weaker to Harrison, but I guess he's thinking that Kolento might not value this this steal of the this killing a 1/2 weapon and just drawing 2 cards. Whereas if you get like a True Silver Champion or the next Muster for battle, it could be a lot better.
Interesting.
So this is a lot of resources being used by Kolento here.
Consecration.
That's pretty good, especially with your weapon.
Right.
You can choose to kill off one of the 3 attack creatures, probably.
Pretty much almost kill everything. Sylvanas. I mean, this is a board where Sylvanas is going to be pretty effective, right?
Yeah, almost certainly. You are getting to that mind control turn, though.
Ah, yes, you're right. Mind control will be problematic, but at least that means
Tyrion
will be more effective. But until you draw it, he could be a 30th card in your deck. and you'd be in trouble.
It's funny that Paladin is the one on the defensive in this matchup. Usually it's the other way around.
Well, Kolento was trying to go aggressive. Paladin's at 16 health. It's not exactly the most comfortable. So he was thinking that maybe if having an opportunity to pressure his opponent down.
That's interesting. Yeah, I guess he played Pilot Shredder here because he thinks that Kolento probably will trade the... Oh, he will trade the Aldor into
Mana Wraith?
the
Alright.
Lothum.
Not that big of a deal, the Mana Wraith, but it's just funny because like now Sylvanas and Harrison cost a little bit more. Just very trolly again. Man. Was he saving Harrison also on the off chance his opponent gets like True Silver off of a Thought Steal or something?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, Kolento can deal to Sylvanas pretty easily now.
Thought Steal.
Thought Steals could be huge.
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of Priest players, and actually, a lot of them say that Thought Steal is the most important card in this matchup, so Kolento definitely happy to see it. There's a lot of good cards in SleepyShaman's deck that he can
there's Lay on Hands, there's Tyrion, there's also like a few other mediocre cards, like Shielded Mini Bot. That's not going to be too impactful.
Well, and then there's like a quality.
Quality would be pretty sick.
Monster for Battle would be pretty bad. Your opponent has the Harrison.
So, Kolento's saving Harrison. Is he going to try to disarm another True Silver champion or even
a Muster for Battle? Yeah, I think so.
Well, yeah, I was thinking maybe Ashbringer if he doesn't have mind control.
Yeah, that's fair too.
Dude, is this the longest that Mana Wraith's ever stayed alive in a competitive game? This is like 3 or 4 turns now that Mana Wraith's been
I think
alive.
it's just been 2 turns actually. But who knows, maybe it'll stay alive next turn.
This is the 3rd turn. And it looks like it's going to stay alive, so... 4 turns? At least? Maybe even more?
Yeah, maybe that's a record. I mean, the thing is, like, both players have so much mana that I don't think they really care about the Mana Wraith. It's a card that the value just decreases over time each and every game.
So he does give up the Mana Wraith. Tries to go for the juggle. Alright. Drops Harrison. You can take out that body, right? For sure.
Yeah, once you damage something from the Priest, you always want to kill it off. Or your opponent might be able to... He'll be able to heal it first of all, and he might get Northshire Cleric value.
Wild Pyromancer.
That's a good one.
That's pretty effective. Thought steals first and gets Ragnaros.
Not only does he get Ragnaros, he gets Aldor Peacekeeper.
Does he have another Cabal in this deck?
Has he? I think he's only used 1 so far. Could be wrong.
Oh man.
And if
that is really important.
If you run 2 Shriekmeister and a Recombobulator...
Sorry to interrupt you, Monk.
Well, that was a huge draw.
That was a very big draw.
But yeah, I was going to say, if you run 2 Shriekmeisters and a Recombobulator, you might run 2 Shadow Madness as well, so that's also a possibility.
That's his second Cabal, or sorry, second Soul Priest too, so this Circle of Healing, the combination is going to be really important to deal with Quartermaster. However, if that's the last one, he has to be really cautious with it. Ragnaros time. Here we go.
What's it going to be? Is Kolento going to trade?
No. And Rag hits Harrison. That's pretty big. He's going to force an equality out of his opponent. Whoa. Nice. SleepyShaman wide awake. Realizing that it's pretty dire straits. He's going to really need Tyrion to do a lot of work.
Fortunately, Kolento has a really nice answer. Even if he doesn't draw Mind Control, he can just Aldor the...
Dude.
The Tyrion.
He's got Aldor, and then like he might be able to Shadow Madness Tyrion, and then do something else with it, and get the Ashbringer.
What about if he runs a second Recombobulator? He can Aldor, Shadow Madness, and Recombobulate the Tyrion. Ooh. Maybe get like a
You think he runs 2 Recombobulators and 2 Shrinkmeisters? That feels like it's borderline,
Well,
like, insane.
He is running 2 Shadow Madness, so who knows?
All right.
You really don't want to play Tyrion here.
No,
There's a very
if he
big
mind
possibility.
controls, you're just dead.
Exactly. So this might force a Shadow Madness.
Right. It probably will. It's a reasonable amount of power on board. It's 11 damage. Yeah, so now he's got Shadow Word Death and Harrison for the combo to shut down the weapon. So he's got anti-Tyrion tech. So I think you can definitely use Shadow Madness a little bit more liberally here. Is there a puzzle to clear the board at all?
You can clear everything except for the Quartermaster, I believe, with Wild Pyro, Circle, Shadow Madness. Exactly.
You want to heal the Pyro first too, right?
And then you you leave the 3/1 Pyro alive. That's fair.
Would you rather leave a 3/1 token or a 2/3 token? I guess the 2 attack, in case you want to use Cabal Shadow Priest.
Also, I think if you leave a 3/1 Silverhand Recruit up versus a 2/3 Quartermaster, there's a potential for a second Quartermaster to come and buff that 3/1 into a 5/3.
Okay, fair enough.
That looks
Yep,
like to be the
strong
play.
sequencing here.
And now SleepyShaman is out of viable threats. He can't really play the
Well,
Tyrion.
I mean, he has a pretty good threat here. Just, you know, how does it... Is it cross your fingers, hope to die?
So playing it really slowly.
Yep. Kolento can easily shut this down. How close are they to fatigue?
Not really sure. Can't really see the deck sizes, but they've both drawn quite a few cards.
Yeah.
Lay on hands from one side and a Northshire Cleric Heal and 2 Power Word Shields from the other. So both players have drawn approximately an equal number of cards.
Quality number 2.
That's pretty good.
Decent to control the board. Again, this board can easily get wiped by Holy Nova number 2 as well. And regardless of what happens, everything trades down. Or trades equally rather, 1 body for 1 body. So he'd have to give up 3 out of the 4 here. It's not very good for SleepyShaman.
Yeah, but how else can he deal with the Sludge Belcher?
That big game hunter used to be a 4-2 and now it's just a 1-1. An old man with crushed dreams. He thought about hunting big game one day. Instead has to trade with a betrayer.
Fortunately, he might have needed a panda friend to bring him back to life.
Right.
Give him some youth. Give him a drink. So apparently this game, it says basically if you drink, you get your youth back.
Well, Kolento, he's getting pressured. This is where the Paladin hero power actually is really good against Priest. Ball Shadow Priest number 2 is pretty nasty though. Wow. Stealing that shielded mini buy is almost as good as it gets, short of stealing Tyrion off of Aldor Peacekeeper that's thought stolen. But that dream is dead too.
Ooh.
Oh, right.
Forgot about that card.
Of course, there is Ragnaros in the deck.
Ragnaros might be answered, but...
Right. I mean, it's all simple as whether or not Kolento has a mind control right back.
I think that was actually probably the worst hit for SleepyShaman. Face might have been really good, getting his opponent down to 3 health.
Light of the Naru. Wow, so we can clear board here.
Yeah.
How does he want to do it? Just do you want to use Light of the Naru and then heal up?
I think it's alright. You've seen both consecrations from your opponent, so your opponent doesn't really have any AoEs.
Chooses to hold back just in case. Oh, there is another muster for battle though, right?
Oh!
That's right. That's where the Light of the Naru hold was exactly what Kolento's thinking about.
Muster for battle would be terrible.
Oh, dude. Oh, dude. Kolento's just going to steal that Ashbringer.
Yeah, holding Light of the Naru is actually really key here because now he can deal. He could have dealt with both the Tyrion and the Muster for Battle by holding it. Whereas if he didn't, he would have a hard time dealing with both.
This was a really well played game on both ends. I'm highly impressed right now.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks to be
Oh, he's almost out of cards.
Almost over. Oh, Thought Steal.
Thought Steal right here is a pretty big moment too.
So
four cards.
Yeah, 4 cards from Paladin. I think you can afford to.
True Silver number 2 is in. That'd be really big because he just does direct damage to Paladin. But if he plays Thought Steal, he can't heal and.
Oh, second Quartermaster. Not a good one, but.
He's gonna drop the Noise Shot just for more damage.
Yeah, you don't.
Try to end the game.
You really don't want to heal at this point.
Second True Silver is right back.
It's a good one.
What an insanely close game.
Now, is there any way that SleepyShaman can heal his opponent's minions in order to force Kolento to draw?
No. You know what's also really bad about True Silver? It heals as it attacks, so Light Warden even gets stronger.
So you might even have to attack the Light Warden here.
Yeah, I think you do. But then how much health is he at right now? 11?
It's either 11 or 14.
Okay. Well, we're about to find out as soon as he moves with the True Silver, but the heal comes before the attack, so the Light Warden's going to go up to 5 attack.
Essentially, the Light Warden will be dealing that 3 damage.
Oh, man.
Oh.
Alright. Good sequencing.
So now Kolento actually...
14.
Okay. So now actually Kolento can't heal his minions or he'll draw too much.
I think Kolento... Doesn't he win from here? Because he has True Silver?
Right,
How much life is remaining?
So that's 11.
Oh, is that he's 1 damage off? Kolento's 1 damage off lethal? He's got Holy Nova though, right? It's his last card? Oh, it's Light of the Naru.
So only 1 Holy Nova in his deck.
That shouldn't stop him if he just plays Sylvanas, for example. He'd already used both the qualities. Oh, but he knows another Quartermaster exists. But even if he had Quartermaster off the top, he only do 12, 13 damage. And he'd also heal with True Silver. So I say you just rush the face.
13 you would do... He has a True Silver in his...
sorry, that's not a Muster for Battle. Oh, that's not a Light's Justice, you're right.
Yeah, if he heals with Light of the Naru, though, and he heals himself, then I think he can get out of lethal range. He can even just spend one... He can spend his North Shire in order to clear off one of the 1/1s. I think that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, you don't heal a minion anymore, anyways. You just have to... You just have to make sure to lock Paladin out of the game here. Super cautious. Oh, forgot about the Light Warden synergy.
Yeah.
Something that's not completely obvious in first glance.
Oh, Quartermaster.
Quartermaster appears, but Kolento was waiting for this very moment. Has to trade down. Or he's just giving up.
Yeah.
And that's going to do it. What a crazy close game. There was also fatigue damage that we didn't account for either.
Yeah, it was really great. Well played by Kolento. Well played by SleepyShaman. A great control matchup. And fortunately for Kolento, he brought a Priest to counter a Paladin, and it did well for him, even though it was a very close game.
Yep. Was that the best that his best deck against Hunter? Because it'd be one of those things where maybe the Priest won against Paladin, but if you can't beat Hunter with Druid or Warlock, then he might be in trouble. That could be an awkward scenario.
That's true.
In the upcoming games.
Yeah, it really depends on what kind of Hunter SleepyShaman will bring. SleepyShaman in his previous sets, he brought mid-range Hunter, and unfortunately it didn't do very well for him, and he almost lost because of that mid-range Hunter, so he might be getting advice from some of his teammates, from some of... and he might be saying that the Europeans like the Face Hunter more, so he might be bringing that instead. He also seen that Kolento prefers Handlock, or at least he used Handlock in his last match, so Face Hunter I think is definitely a better matchup against Handlock than mid-range Hunter is against Handlock.
Okay. So SleepyShaman still has Paladin Hunter. I think Paladin's okay just to re-queue here. So I'd be happy with that either way.
Yeah. Paladin against Druid and Warlock. Against Druid, would say it's around 50-50, and against Warlock, the Demon Handlock from Strifecrow, that was from Strifecrow.
Would you? I mean, it's pretty 50-50 on how you choose it, but if you really feel like Paladin's really that good against Warlock, wouldn't you want to queue Hunter here first, so that way Hunter beats whatever, and then have Paladin match up potentially last against Warlock?
To be honest, I think right now it's kind of a 50-50. Kolento would prefer Druid against Paladin, and actually his Warlock, if it's Face Hunter, then he would prefer. I don't know. Face Hunter seems to be both Druid and Warlock, and Warlock. Yeah, you wouldn't want to face Paladin with Warlock. You wouldn't want to face Hunter with Warlock. So, SleepyShaman might have predicted Kolento's lineup, and he picked. If he picked a Face Hunter, it might work very well for him.
Okay. I guess we'll find out in a little bit of time. We're still taking our time here between games. They're cutting back to us during commercial breaks. So it gets during game breaks. It's a good time for us to remind you about what they're playing for. They're playing for $60,000 and also a Ferrari to the Chinese winner. That's assuming they win the tournament, though. This was an extra incentive. Some people are like, well, that's not fair. The Chinese players obviously have a bigger prize pool to win out of. But this was added on as an incentive for the Chinese players to perform well, because last tournament for Europe versus China, I believe Europe swept China very convincingly.
4-0 in fact.
4-0. And so they said, let's invite the Europeans back. And we'll do a round of 16 bracket, so it's not just like team against team. And from there, we'll dish out some prizes.
Yeah, I really like the format of this tournament. 8 Chinese players against 8 European players. But let's get into the game now. It's gonna be Warlock against Paladin. We're gonna see the Paladin yet again. See, this is gonna be really interesting because SleepyShaman has to decide whether to keep the BGH in his opening hand, and there's actually an argument for not keeping it because none of the Warlock opening, the Warlock's opening threats are BGHable. The only thing is really maybe a Mal'Ganis that comes off of a Void Caller.
Right.
There's no Mountain Giants in the Handlock deck anymore, so I don't know. Maybe you would prefer to BGH.
I wonder how Kolento feels about this matchup, too. He's got answers to a lot of what Paladin has. You know, Quartermaster, he's got Hellfire, he's got Mortal Coils against a lot of those 1-health minions to keep the draws and relieve the pressure. And also, Dread Inferno. Dread Inferno's Battlecry can be pretty useful, Monk, against Paladin.
Yeah, just a really interesting tech choice that Strifecrow put in. What a brilliant kid Strifecrow is. Innovating Hearthstone decks for the better part of a year, in fact.
It's almost coming up on 2 years, man. Crazy to think.
Hearthstone's 2-year anniversary.
Yep.
We'll be old men by then.
We already are old. We already are old, Monk. I guess he has to be afraid of the Coin Quartermaster.
Yeah.
But there's no easy way to clear this. So you might just play him. You might just play the Drake anyways.
So we're also at an interesting crossroads where Kolento can Mortal Coil, but after that, what does he do? He can Void Caller, and he can Twilight Drake.
Alright.
With the Void Caller, the problem is if Void Caller is killed here.
Oh, man.
Quartermaster off the top. But yeah, if Void Caller is killed here, Jiraxxus will come out. And I'm not even sure.
Well, it might be Jiraxxus for Dread Infernal.
It's true.
Oh, here we go. Jiraxxus would be pretty nice to clean up everything. Is that what Kolento wanted?
But the issue is, I think Jiraxxus is really good in this matchup as the hero and not as the 315 unit.
Yeah, 315 is still pretty nice. It's just like it controls the board.
Against Paladin, though, I feel like it's slightly less nice, perhaps. The equality is just what makes the huge difference. Also, an Aldor on a 315.
We also see that Paladin runs Harrison Jones. He knows that. And if he keeps, or he has Harrison and he keeps it for Jiraxxus, that's one way to blow it out.
Oh, Harrison Jones drawn right here.
So I think Kolento sort of wanted that and hoped that his Dread Infernal didn't get passed, because Dread Infernal would be really effective, like we said, naturally against the Paladin hero power for clears.
Yeah, very nice analysis. Yeah, I can definitely see that perspective. Right now, because he's seen Jiraxxus come on the field, you might as well just play your strongest minion, which is, well, not your strongest minion because you can Lotheb, but I think either Lotheb or Harrison could work here. I actually might prefer Lotheb just because it's a little stronger and it prevents your opponent from doing a few things on the board next turn. Plus, it's kind of weak to Mortal Coil right here. Draxus attacks.
Draxus is doing so much work, dude.
We might see a game here where Draxus actually dies from just attacking. Oh, never mind. Dread Infernal comes down, and this is going to be the second appearance of Dread Infernal in a competitive game.
It's really good. Is he going to force equality out here?
Okay, this is fair.
Sylvanas was a pretty big moment last time we saw it against us. Ooh! The Ironbeak Owl's silence. But does he want to keep it for Tyrion? I mean, maybe Kolento can get away with not having to use the owl right now.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty huge top deck because this deck only runs one owl. So very low chance of him getting it.
Alright. Farseers, he's going to try to force down equality early on. And from here, if you're Kolento, you don't really necessarily need to build the board as much anymore.
Oh, what a combo we see here.
What did he say? He said your soul shall suffer, right? But he said it in Chinese. And he said,
let's see where these knife juggles hit.
One to the face. To the face? Oh, that's so bad. Wow.
What does he even kill here?
What is even happening? How does Kolento do this? Kolento sees Hearthstone like the Matrix. The knives just keep flinging at him, but he just stops it. Through sheer willpower.
And now he has to tank 6 damage, perhaps? Or 3
Oh
damage.
my god! I can't believe it. He's actually figured out the code.
I think you just man up and take the 6 damage. I mean, I don't know about that.
I agree, it's definitely less manly, but either way, I think that Dread Infernal's time is limited on this planet. This is why Kolento this is why Kolento is so scary, because the truth is he gets pretty lucky sometimes, but he's also a pretty damn good player, so that combination is just unbelievable and like unstoppable in tournaments, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And a lot of players agree too. They're kind of envious of his RNG. If you just listen to the players murmur on the bench in tournaments, like at DreamHacks or at BlizzCon or whatnot, a lot of them are very envious of how things turn out for Kolento half the time. Nice play, clear the board. Paladin's struggling here.
Yeah, this is exactly why I kind of liked attacking the 6-1 Dread Infernal last turn, because right now Dread Infernal will probably get 2 hits in, dealing a total of 12 damage instead of 6 damage it would have done to you by just attacking it in the first place. So yeah, guess he has to hit it once again, but after he hits it, I think he has to boom bot. Or sorry, he has to IC kill bot. Yeah. So many bots in Hearthstone now.
Wow, that double entendre.
Guess not as many bots as there were a few months ago, though. So, pretty happy about
Bodies against the end user license agreement. Report SleepyShaman for botting. Oh man, that was even funny too. All right, Kolento has an opportunity to drop a pretty big bomb here with a cheap Molten Giant.
Yeah, if he chooses to drop Molten Giant here, he could still do it, but won't be as cheap. I think the key in this game is also that SleepyShaman has not drawn his Lay on Hands yet. So he's going to after he uses up this hand, he's going to have a hard time refilling the board. Also, Kolento's going to be putting on so much pressure that it's going to be hard for SleepyShaman to even use that Lay on Hands safely. You have to find a turn as Paladin where you can afford to use 8 mana, and I'm not sure if this is going to be one of those turns.
Well, geez, I mean, Lotheb, like, now that quality costs basically your left arm and a kidney, how are you supposed to clear the board? You can't! He drew Consecration and it's too expensive!
Yeah, too expensive. Well, it's not too expensive, I have to say.
Well, I mean, it's too expensive to do it in combination. Now you have to choose one.
Man. Oh boy. So he's gonna choose the equality, I have to feel. Equality gets rid of 2 minions, whereas concentration gets rid of 1. But now that Kolento has seen both equalities, he can just afford to load up his board however much he wants.
He's on a Dark Bomb to win. 2 damage off lethal.
Dark Bomb, second Hellfire? Yep.
Second Hellfire is good. Kolento takes game 3 and the series edge. SleepyShaman's on his last life. He needs Hunter to win 2 games in a row.
Yeah, even though he needs Hunter to win 2 games in a row, I don't think SleepyShaman is in as bad of a position as he would be if it was any other deck. Especially because it's Face Hunter. I believe Face Hunter has a really good matchup against Handlock. Pretty good matchup against Druid as well. So, if SleepyShaman made that call to switch decks from mid-range Hunter that he used in the round of 16 to a Face Hunter in the round of 4, he might still be able to defeat Kolento. And he would be, I believe, the first Chinese player ever to defeat Kolento. Certainly an accomplishment.
He'd be the first Chinese player ever?
Yeah.
Kolento's played a lot of games. I feel like there's definitely an opportunity where another Chinese player may have played against him.
In a tournament?
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Don't you think?
In a broadcasted tournament, though. I don't
Okay,
think so.
fair enough.
Yeah, because the only chances he would have had to face Chinese players would be at BlizzCon. And I believe he did win against every Chinese player at BlizzCon. His weakness was Kranich, a Korean player.
Right, those weird warrior charge decks.
Worgen, OTK decks.
Yep. All right, so game 4, we have Hunter versus whatever. Doesn't really matter. Kolento's Druid or Warlock. Maybe if he... Oh, actually, no, it's Druid. Sorry, Druid versus the Paladin and Hunter.
Oh, yeah, so we had that all wrong.
Yeah. I was confused by the crossouts.
Yeah.
So SleepyShaman still has Paladin and Hunter against Kolento's Druid. So I guess it really doesn't matter which one you queue up. I would assume that you'd probably want to get Hunter out of the way because it's quick. You get momentum back on your side, and going to game 5, you can kind of reset your head.
Yeah, Hunter. Again,
Other than that, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, you definitely do want momentum. I think you want the confidence that you need to beat Kolento. Kolento's a player who has very strong presence, and when SleepyShaman was talking to his compatriots yesterday, they told him you just have to play well. You can't rush him down too much. You can't play the control matchup too much. You just have to play solidly. And I think that is part of the reason why he just decided to bring 3 solid decks in Paladin, Hunter, and Druid.
It's funny watching Kolento. It's funny watching Kolento watch other players too, because he disagrees with a lot of their plays. Even just the Europeans sitting there, they're all like top 100, top 50 legend in Europe, and Kolento just keeps saying, no, you shouldn't do that, do this.
Yeah, even when Tice was playing Miracle Rogue today, I saw Tice and
Wow. Hey.
This is how
What's
you
it
win
like to beat
tournaments.
Kolento? I have no idea. He's the one.
How do you get these kind of draws, man? I don't even know. So it's either going to be... What's coming off the top? Zombie Chow? That's pretty good. You can innervate Lotha plus Zombie Chow.
He innervates Sylvanas instead. Preemptively get ahead on the board. And Shielded Minibot can't die easily, so there's that.
Fortunately, this might get slightly wrecked by White Barino. And even though Kolento did get the Wild Growth plus Innervate, I don't think this is that good for him.
Unless he gets Ancient of Lore.
Yeah. The problem with having so many ramp cards in your opening hand is that eventually you might run out of cards. Kolento's hand right now isn't the best, I'd say. Through the Claw is okay.
Yeah, it's tough to do as opposed to just like a Force of Nature that just sits in his hand for a while.
Yeah, I also like the decision to use the Wrath for 1 instead of swiping here. You really want to use the swipe later on in the game, and you really want to cycle with the Wrath in order to draw closer to your Ancients of Lore.
And Sylvanas is still problematic because that Shielded Minibot, until the Divine Shield has been popped, it becomes this liability where it becomes a 2/2 minion. It's another minion that can get +2 from Savage Roar. So I really like the decision of Kolento flipping the switch. A lot of times it used to be a criticism, and you know, some of the casters that I used to talk to all the time post-game, they'd be like, yeah, I think Kolento plays a little bit too trade-heavy and defensive and conservative. But like, just look at him be super aggressive on the opposite end, so he really recognizes opportunities and takes them.
So,
I like it.
So admirable. Admirable.
I don't want to call anybody out, Monk, but if you want to say admirable, I'm not going to stop you.
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah, it was admirable. Oh, look at that!
Yeah, it's exactly what he needed. He can't play it on this turn, but
Someone needs to like do that video editing when like Neo wakes up after doing training and says, "I know Kung Fu." It needs to do that related to what Hearthstone is and Kolento's draws, because that would get like instantly 100,000 views. You just keep linking that every single time Kolento wins a tournament. Which is like every tournament.
I think a better scene in the Matrix for Kolento would be when Neo is reborn and he sees everything as like code and green lines, right?
Right, but we already did that joke, so I have to go back to another point of the movie and explain something else to just kind of reinforce how godly these draws are. Because Kolento, he's like, the big thing about Wild Growth Stars, like you always say, Monk, is that sometimes you don't have the follow-up, but you have the card draw now. So now it's going to be the point where how does, like, Paladin used to be, was like thinking maybe you can outcard him if you get like a quality consecration. That's about it.
Yeah. SleepyShaman, despite the great opening from Kolento and his great draws, SleepyShaman has been drawing fairly well too. And I don't think he minds the situation right now with Sylvanas against just his Aldor. If, for example, if Kolento plays the Ancient of Lore next turn, then Kolento will be able to trade the Ancient, the Aldor into the Ancient and then clear out the Sylvanas basically for free. So Sylvanas, I don't think it was that impactful into the game compared to some other times. It didn't create as much pressure as he might have wanted to. Harrison Jones is another great draw. So actually, SleepyShaman is going to have a really good curve going into the next few turns.
Yeah, he's got the...
He's got Sludge Belcher now to contest the 5-2.
Doesn't he want to put Dr. Boom out now?
Oh yeah, well that's fair too.
But generally speaking, he's feeling pretty good.
Yeah, this slightly messes up with your curve a bit. Because next turn you might want to True Silver, and if you True Silver, Harrison will get a lot of value. No VGH for Kolento, so he's gonna have to find another way to deal with Dr. Boom, and it might just be the swipe. You do want to save the Keeper if you can against Tyrion if that comes down, or even a possible Sylvanas from the Paladin.
The nice thing is that he does have a minion to drop after the swipe.
Yeah, Shade was a pretty good draw. That being said, though, if you just play the Shade, you're giving your opponent a lot of initiative. Generally in Hearthstone, after your turn, you want to have a slight lead on the board, and I guess the Shade is a slight lead, but not as much of a lead as you want from Kolento. Yep, looks like... Oh. Okay, this is...
Oh, he's going to keep her instead?
Okay. So, I think with this play, he just wants to develop the board a bit more.
Well,
he has the...
he wants to save his swipe.
Yeah, of course.
And I mean, the swipe, because the Mustafar battle, he wants to be able to control the 1/1s.
Yeah, this might actually... He might force his opponent... he might force a True Silver to come out from his opponent. And then he can Harrison Jones that, which would be a huge tempo swing.
Right.
I wonder if that is indeed what Kolento was thinking with that Keeper the Grove play. That'd be insanely smart. So the question here is, do you actually hero power first before Harrison Jones?
I don't think so. I think it's too much of a threat that the 1/1 become... The Boom bot can actually just snipe everything that you're trying to do with Harrison. Then the 1/1, the Silverhand Recruit is threatened to become a 3/3 through the Quartermaster. And how do you deal with that?
That's true. Even if you Harrison Jones, if you hero power, for example, if you don't hero power rather, and you play the Shade, then the Boombot kind of contests the Shade as well. So,
is it worth keeping swipe anymore? Because we're starting to get to the point where Quartermaster can just be dropped with Muster for battle on 8 mana. Because if you swipe and then Harrison, it's like board's clear. You did 20. He's at 22 life. Harrison. I guess you're not really threatening combo because it's 22 health, not 21. Never mind. That play is not not that great. You're giving up swipe for practically nothing.
So, okay. What is Kolento looking for?
Pilot Shredder, something sticky on the board.
That's a good one.
TQ bot could be really useful later on. Here we go, big quartermaster swing opportunity.
And this game might have just turned around. What can Kolento do?
Well, this is what he kept swipe for, but not specifically these many 3-3s that popped out of it. Oh, well, that's one way to deal with it. He's got a board clear. So he has to just give up his force of nature.
As a Druid player, you always want to be on the offensive, though. And if you give up your force of nature by just clearing board, I'm not sure if that's how you win.
So then you can go the opposite route, go like Lotheb, and then Drew the Claw. But then what if he has a quality number? Did he play a quality yet?
No.
So if he plays a quality,
what if he has a second quartermaster?
Oh man, that would be nuts.
So yeah, Kolento's just going offensive here.
I don't think you can necessarily afford to play around second quartermaster. It's just too much respect. It's like you're too passive.
Yeah, it's kind of like playing around Force of Nature, Savage Roar, Innervate, Savage Roar. The double combo. Actually, the Druid the Claw trades really well against the 3-3s.
Tyrion trades pretty well against everything on the board here. Wow, suiciding everything, trying to let Tyrion be the game decides swinging moment here.
Yeah, both players with these plays, they know who is the beatdown, and it's going to be Kolento. So Kolento's going to be playing offensively, and SleepyShaman playing defensively as a result. Innervate, probably one of the worst draws in the deck.
Yeah.
I have to be thinking that Wild Growth is going to be used this turn. Don't really see many other options for Kolento. And even though Kolento had such a good opening hand, the Paladin hand was pretty much just equally as good.
You think he's going to get a keeper? Just because how Kolento's been drawing all series long.
I mean, that's almost as good, maybe. Why not play Ancient of Lore here? Ancient of Lore, and then I guess you have to pop the Divine Shield somehow.
Right.
You don't want the Tyrion to get that much value.
If he gets Wrath, he can innervate Wrath for poke it. Oh, he got the keeper just a little bit late, but that still means he can stop the weapon from coming out, right?
Yeah.
Tyrion can't suicide easily.
I mean, I definitely think the keeper will be used in the next turn, but even if he didn't have the keeper, I almost feel like the silence would be better to get rid of the taunt rather than to leave your opponent with an Ashbringer. Because in this matchup, the Ashbringer actually isn't that great, because every time your Ashbringer, every time you're hitting a weapon or hitting a minion with your weapon, you're dealing damage to yourself and bringing yourself closer to the combo.
Whoa. Kolento bites the lip.
Whoa, that's a good one.
Wow, we have a potential game ender moment here. No, just chooses to hold back. It's definitely okay to be more conservative. You're so far ahead.
So Swipe's gonna get a lot of value here.
Right. Swipe and keeper. You can squeeze in hero power. Yeah, sounds pretty reasonable. And the question becomes, is there an opportunity for Kolento to climb back into this game? Because Paladin is still very comfortable in health. He's got lay on hands.
Oh, Rikimazu is very threatening here. The other question is, should SleepyShaman have attacked face last turn instead of trading into the Ancient of Lore? Because if he attacked face, I believe the Ancient of Lore would have made the same exact trade. And now SleepyShaman doesn't have a potential for lethal on this turn. In fact, he's in a very tenuous position.
Right, and then if Ragnaros hits 2-4, and then Kolento's a big game hunter, it's sort of like a brand new game.
All right, let's see what this hits. 2-4. Both options were okay.
Yeah.
Swipe, unfortunately, Swipe is not a big game hunter,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to feel like
Gotta be Cenarius. Oh, I guess he's gonna swipe and remove. Yeah, I guess that's his best course of action as well. Being super defensive. Is that his only force of nature in the deck?
it could possibly be his only force of nature. Most Druid decks these days, I believe, run one force of nature. Two is just sometimes too situational, but we have seen a lot of the other players in this tournament run two force of natures. Unfortunately, if Kolento uses this force of nature to clear, I'm not sure he can win this game because SleepyShaman, he has a lay on hands and he's gonna have a free lay on hands turn.
Right, but then initiative goes to the Druid player unless he picks up a quality.
I mean, Cenarius is huge, but I think
Yeah, well now he has another minion to play.
yeah, I think like the consecration will certainly be drawn later on. So wow, SleepyShaman being very offensive, not even playing the zombie chow.
Yeah, here we go. Cenarius to start climbing back on the board. Now, Kolento is really keeping his shades tucked as well because he realizes that consecration, like this would be an opportunity to use it. So Vanish draw on the top is pretty impactful too. Because there's no more keepers, right?
Yeah, both keepers have indeed been used. Now, are we going to see a mind control from Kolento? Mind control tech from Kolento. In China, they call it the TC-130. Oh, Big Game Hunter's just a little too late.
Yeah. Is there... See, he used both of his targets, right? Dr. Boom and Rag? So there's no real targets for
Yeah, I believe
BGH?
so. Like, you wouldn't expect any other 7 attack minion in a Paladin deck.
Yeah.
I mean, even Ragnaros is very rare.
He's still really afraid of Consecration. Because Consecration can destroy everything if it just plays the shades, right?
It's gonna take... Oh. Fortunately, Kolento did have an answer.
Yeah, but that was not like that was. He just wanted to take the 2-1 Treant. I guess the positive side is that he forces the trade from the Pilot Shredder into the Treant taunt. You're gonna play a shade. He's still gonna wait on Consecration. Doesn't really need equality here. So you think about healing the Pilot Shredder? No, there's no need to do that.
Fairy Dragon. Oh, the Fairy Dragon is actually a good one.
Yeah, against Druid, it's pretty nice.
Well, we actually had a debate yesterday between Hawkeye and Kolento. Because Hawkeye, he put 2 Fairy Dragons in a Shaman deck. We asked him why, and he said, well, because it's very good against Druid, and I predicted everyone to play Druid. Kolento, meanwhile, answered, no, it's not good against Druid. You get Keepered every single time. So, it's highly ironic. I bet Hawkeye is laughing at the situation right now.
Oh, yeah, he is smiling.
Hawkeye's like, yeah, see, I told you.
Well, I guess he sees no Consecrations anymore, but if he had it, he might as well have played it now because he drew 3-4 cards off of Lay on Hands. I really have a hard time seeing how Kolento can pull himself. He used both of his Ancient of Lores, and Paladin's just out-carding him severely.
Yeah, this might be a game where... like, fatigue might come in. If Kolento can draw into perhaps another swipe.
Pretty sure he used both swipes, though.
I used both swipes, wow.
Didn't he?
So is the only thing left like a mind control tech that he can like not die from on the next turn? I mean, SleepyShaman is just setting up lethal at this point.
Yeah. I mean, Kolento has to trade minions down now. Pilot Shredder. Savage Roar can keep him trading against cards like Harrison. Even allows him to trade a little bit better into the Aldor Peacekeeper if he uses his hero power as well.
Pretty much plays a desperation from Kolento. And do you remember the start that he actually had? It was pretty amazing.
It was.
Wild growth into curving out really well. Wait.
3, 5, 7. Oh, he's got lethal.
Yeah, that is lethal.
Yeah, just quartermaster and then consecration.
He's like, wait, I don't want to miss lethal.
Yeah. All right, so that ends game number 4. Redding was in the wall for the last 2 turns, but this is what we were kind of expecting, like Kolento to struggle a little bit with Druid against his last 2 classes. And all of a sudden, SleepyShaman 1 game away from upsetting Kolento, where yesterday night he was basically begging other Chinese players to help him prepare for Kolento because he didn't know how to beat him.
Yeah, it's going to come down to the last match, Hunter versus Druid, which indeed will be a very favorable matchup for Hunter, no matter what kind of Hunter he's playing, either face or mid-range. So Kolento is in a very tenuous situation and probably unfavored in the rest of this tournament.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was kind of his fault for the way it happened. Just, you bring the class, that's the risk that you run. A little unfortunate, again, that it went down the way it did, right? Because that Druid defeating Warlock in the very beginning would have loved to have another chance there. But in the end, we come down to this game 5, and I'm really curious to see how it does. I don't really know if SleepyShaman's feeling nervous at all, but he's playing just fine. He's not making like egregious errors at all. I feel like he's playing pretty solid. He's bringing pretty solid decks. He's just playing pretty standard, man.
Yeah. Standard is an excellent way to describe SleepyShaman. Of course, out of the 4 players in the semifinals, he's probably brought the most standard lineup with Paladin, Hunter, and Druid. Kolento, he brought a Priest. Tiddler Celestial, of course, he's known for his very special decks, including his Special Mage and his Warlock. Hawkeye, known for his signature class, right now his Shaman. In his round of 16 match, Hawkeye brought a Mech Shaman. In the round of 8, he brought a mid-range Shaman. So who can guess? Who can even guess what he's bringing this time? Whatever Shaman that he's bringing, maybe a third type of Shaman that he's invented himself.
All right, well, the lights have dimmed, which means me and Monk are going to get really comfortable as we're getting ready for game number 5. I think they're about to switch at any time. Anytime.
Actually, it's time to throw some paper again because the Chinese...
Oh, the game is started.
The game has started.
Wait, Monk.
Wait.
Oh.
Yeah, we need to do this.
Don't. No. Don't. Just wave him down. Don't stop waving until they notice us.
We're just doing the Queen's wave.
What if we just flap our arms like birds? Well, you think they noticed.
Oh, great.
Yeah, awesome. Here we go.
Not so awkward anymore.
Hey, Zombie Chow's in the Druid deck. That's we didn't really touch upon it too much, but that's really important against Hunter.
Did we see that? Oh yeah, we saw the Zombie Chow earlier. But usually in the Western scene, if you see a Leopard Gnome in the opening hand from the Hunter player, you know it's kind of like a face Hunter, but we really can't tell from the Chinese scene because these Chinese players, they play Leopard Gnome in mid-range Hunter decks. That explosive trap is kind of telling though.
Yeah, for sure. Either way, it's not going to change the turn 1 from Kolento. He's got Wild Growth also to follow this up.
Yeah, even though this is going to be a really great matchup for SleepyShaman, I think Kolento is just outdrawing him in this tournament.
Yeah, I like this. Playing around the possibility of Glaive Zuka or Abusive Sergeant to disarm the Zombie Chow. Yeah. And he's got Wild Growth.
You're also just essentially trading your Innervate for a heal 2 damage. Honor Creeper is going to come down. And we're certainly... Oh!
Wow, he's got a Shade of
even a Shade to play on the next turn. Kolento can even decide to, if he wants for more board control, to play the Shade this turn, but no, he goes with the Wild Growth, just opening up the possibilities for the next turn, allowing him to play Swipe.
Ooh, that's a pretty juicy Swipe target.
Yeah, probably the worst of all the animal companions.
Yeah.
Usually you think...
Insta-call Swipe.
Yeah, usually you would think that Huffer is really bad against the Zombie Chow, but this was so much worse.
This is really good for Kolento. Like, really, really good. Because a lot of these things are just going to get stopped now by the Druid the Claw. I mean, the secret already sort of reveals everything.
SleepyShaman is actually considering playing the Explosive Trap here.
Yeah.
I think he really doesn't want to play the Mad Scientist and then have opponent not attack the Mad Scientist, then draw your second explosive trap.
Oh man, double Druid of the Claw. That's 2 walls of taunts. It's effectively 12 health that's going to be gained. Considering how much charge damage is in the deck.
And no Iron Beak out here, so he might just have to fight through this Druid of the Claw.
Yep. Can Kolento start outracing his opponents soon?
We saw in a previous match between Kolento and Sansifka where Kolento, he played Druid against Sansifka's Face Hunter, and he actually was able to outrace the Hunter player by drawing Innervate combo off the top. So it's always I mean, wow, 2 Druid of the Claw. How are you going to get past that? Do you Leroy Jenkins into that?
Then you give your opponents 2 1/1 whelps.
Is that bad though?
I guess because you would
You can unleash the hounds later
right.
just to take advantage of those whelps.
I think I'd rather just Wolf Rider, Abusive Sergeant, or something like that. I don't know. Both options stink. The thing about Leroy is you're like losing a lot of your finishing damage because then he just starts counting down from kill command. Oh.
Exactly. Oh, that's right.
But yeah.
So is Kolento gonna play around this Unleash the Hounds?
Well, he's gonna for sure kill off the Abusive Sergeant test, right? And then from there,
Do you just attack into the explosive trap?
do you have to?
I think what Kolento is thinking is that on the next turn he can play Scenarios, which
Yeah, he can coin it out and get +2/+2.
exactly. How much damage is that actually? So much. I think the Chinese casters were being really excited for.
Yeah, well, they
for
thought about the possibility of like Knife Juggler.
Exactly.
Knife Juggler would have been crazy powerful.
We're almost certainly going to see these scenarios. Pretty much just a Savage Roar here that gives +2 health to all minions as well.
Sludge Belcher is also pretty interesting too, considering that you get to play a little bit more board control centric. And you're still at 15 health, so you're at like a comfortable-ish. Like, how are you worried about dying? If your opponent has 8 mana and if he has like maximum kill commands, you still be able to survive another turn, but just barely. Oh wait, no, you'd be doing damage to yourself through Explosive Trap, right? So that'd be at least 16 damage. Yeah.
Yeah, just a lot of damage.
So you have to weigh both those options then.
So Kolento is going to play more defensively, I feel. Oh, he doesn't actually set up the scenarios. Instead, yeah, this is
the 2/2 taunts.
yeah, by far the most defensive play.
Yeah, I like it. Also, not to mention, his opponent just used Unleash the Hounds, and also he had the opportunity to get the combo.
Oh.
1 turn too late! Oh, SleepyShaman shakes his head in frustration, and I can't blame him.
How can he even win at this point? I mean...
Another Unleash the Hounds.
Yeah. So, if his only way to win is another Unleash the Hounds, I guess, do you just clear with a Wolf Rider hero power? I'm not sure.
Well, you definitely have to hero power this turn. You need to try to drain him in as low health as possible. 3, 5, 10, 12 on the backswing, so a single Savage Roar would kill him.
Yeah, at this point, pretty much none of the cards that Kolento could draw, besides perhaps Innervate, would be dead cards.
Yeah.
Although, if you Arcane Golem this turn as well, then you give your opponent 10 mana for Wild Growth to also not be a dead card.
I guess Wild Growth is technically a dead card next turn.
I guess I like Wolf Riding into a 2/2.
Right, just because, you know, you still need to be able to burst through eventually.
3 mana Holy Smite.
To drain life.
Oh,
and that's going to do it! Kolento goes to the grand finals of Europe versus China Season 2.
Wow.
And doing
I
it
can't
through the
believe
good
it.
old Savage Roar Force of Nature combo. The Chinese are devastated. The Europeans are apathetic. And Kolento, well, it looks like he's pretty happy that he just won $10,000.
$10,000.
But just another day in the office for K-God.
Yeah, not bad. Kolento flies over to China, wins 3 matches, and wow, 10,000 euros. Easy game, easy money.
Exceptional play from both players. I felt like SleepyShaman did very well. In fact, I think he played much better today than he did any other day.
Yeah.
Just like generally speaking, definitely upped the level. Day number 1, there were some decisions there. You know, we were saying that maybe he could have done something else more optimized, but I felt like today, generally speaking, he did really well.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Unfortunately, the draws just weren't with him there, and the draws from Kolento were just pretty much amazing, getting wild growth from his Druid games every single time. Even though in the paddling game was able still overall, that's probably better for Druid than it is for Handlock.
Yeah, especially considering that you're the one that's going to be presenting the threat of using the Savage Roar combo to finish the game. Having a clear board on your turn is definitely the better option here. Well, it wasn't truly clear. There was still a Gold Shower Footman in the way. But effectively nothing when you drop Dr. Boom there.
Yeah, essentially here, Dread Infernal came out for the first time ever in a competitive Hearthstone game.
But then Sylvanas.
Yeah, Sylvanas I feel like was the second time when this game kind of turned around because Kolento was forced to essentially clear the Sylvanas, giving up a lot of his board. Now, this was yet another turning point in the game. Swipe and Dr. Boom, even the Ancient Watcher tanking a lot of the damage. Or all of the damage even. Even though the Hellfire was able to come down on the next turn, Kolento was just never really able to both get back the board state and also taunt up.
And this was the final turning point in the game, Monk.
So many turning points. I mean, that's pretty common in this matchup, actually.
Yeah, it can be pretty forward. You're completely right. And then taking out this Warlock deck with Druid early on. I mean, was that what? Do you think that's what he wanted in terms of the matchups when he queued up Druid? Was he expecting the Warlock, or was he hoping for something else like the Priest or maybe a Druid Mirror?
I would have to think that that was probably the worst matchup for him to get. Druid against Warrior. He much preferred the Paladin or the Hunter, for example, against the Warlock deck.
This game was also excellently played. You can tell that both players were really considering the possibilities of future turns. Things like keeping the Harrison Jones on the off chance that he gets the Thought Stolen weapon, which he did, but wasn't relevant until late stages of the game. One thing that I felt like we didn't talk enough about the Rag coin flip ended up saving Kolento, I think.
Yeah,
right?
Probably true. The Rag hit a minion instead of Kolento's face, and if Kolento...
You were saying like it was the worst possible scenario. It hit the 2-2.
Oh, it hit the 2-2. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, was that the moment where like it also ended the chance for SleepyShaman in retrospect?
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe his only chance at that point was to burst Kolento down because Kolento just had the better control deck. This was a very nice turn.
Yeah, this was so big.
Also, probably the best played turn from Kolento because he actually saved the Light of the Naru in order to deal with potential muster for battle combos or Tyrion on the very next turn.
Right. And the final moments of the game where Kolento just had to make sure not to die. That Thought Steal was so good, not only because of card draw, but because of intel, right? It's like, yes, he does have the second Quartermaster in the last few cards. It's like a big reminder of just, these are the cards you have to play around, True Silver and the Quartermaster. There's a couple cards remaining, but we didn't get to see it.
Yeah, in the final game, or in the third game, rather, we saw a lot of Quartermaster action here, but unfortunately, just wasn't enough. Eventually, the Paladin ran out of cards. This Diraxis actually did a lot of work as a 315 minion.
And like, if he waited for that to have a turn 9 Diraxis, he would have been in trouble.
Oh, this was kind of the heartbreak moment for
SleepyShaman.
I think overall he just got the worst RNG in the whole series. These knife struggle hits were just epically bad. And this was also the turn where I think he just took 3 extra damage by attacking the Diraxis instead of the Dread Infernal here.
Yeah, really, you know, just because of that and unfortunate sequence of events, and Kolento pretty much waltzed in with a double Hellfire. Even though he was low health to end the game, I really felt like he wasn't truly threatened.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah, like that game was pretty much a stomp from the handlocks end. And then we go to game number 4 here, where it's pretty fresh in our memories, where Kolento almost found a way to stabilize the board, but Paladin kept putting on pressure. And I felt like SleepyShaman did a good job playing for value throughout this game. Understands that Druid has to fight really inefficiently against bigger minions, especially if they don't have Big Game Hunter.
Yeah. Just, yeah, there we have the finishing blow of the game. And I think one of the biggest things about that game was Kolento was really inefficiently had to deal with the Doctor Boom.
Yeah.
With the Ancient Lord going into it.
He gave up like 3 cards.
Exactly. Doctor Boom was a 3-for-1.
And here's a big turning point in game number 5. Kolento had the early game innervate to stop the opponents. And of course, making sure to play just conservative enough while being able to posture himself up to be lucky. Very good sequencing all around. Kolento didn't really make mistakes. And I guess we're going to find out, see what he thinks about the game. And Kolento interviews are always my favorite because he always has a lot to say about his matches.
Well, actually, we're going to go straight into commercial. We're going to do the interviews right after the second semifinals. And we're going to have Kolento plus the winner of the second semifinals together. And a more epic interview. So see you guys then.
All right.